Let's initiate the session, Prasham. Prasham, you are mute. Can you unmute yourself?
Okay, thank you, Kamlesh. Thanks all, and welcome to the Microsoft 365 Saturday Bangalore 2021. Uh, Thank you for all today on this weekend on Saturday. So it's thank you to all of our sponsors, Microsoft, Panthera Technology, Hexagon, Quizcom, JPower4. It's nice to sponsor these sessions and allow us to helps and sharing and learning. Then this is about the event. So you have lots of stay tuned till the end of day, attend all sessions, and then you have lots of opportunity to win the existing prizes, exciting prizes, including tab and yeah. So before I start, my name is Prasham Sabadra. I am as a software architect working into the Apex on technology. I have around 15 plus years of experience, mostly working on the SharePoint. Started with the working on the SharePoint 2002, then the WSS 3.0, and since last 4 to 5 years working on the cloud technologies, mostly on the Microsoft 365. So today we are going to discuss about the Microsoft 365 groups lifecycle, and that is using the Microsoft Graph APIs. These both are like my one of the favorite topics. Uh, so what we will cover in this session, we'll cover the what is Microsoft Graph, brief overview of the Graph, Microsoft Graph APIs, then Microsoft 365 groups. We'll see how to access the Graph APIs using Graph Explorer, why Graph Explorer is very important tool while working with the Microsoft Graph APIs, and then we'll see what are the Microsoft 365 groups and group types, including security groups, mail enable groups, security mail enable groups, what is dynamic membership, and then we'll have a demo. So we'll have two demos, one through Graph Explorer and one through is C Sharp, in the C Sharp using the Visual Studio, where we'll get all the our organizations Microsoft 365 groups. We'll create one new group and we will see the demo, what are the prerequisites to use the Microsoft Graph APIs in our application. But before that, I am today attending all the sessions, including keynotes and all those things. So almost all the sessions, including keynotes, like whether keynotes and whether the session about like the last session webhooks, then previous section Viva connections, or the first session Viva connections, team apps. In every session, if you have if you have listened carefully or if you have understood, there is a Microsoft Graph APIs reference. Even in the VSR session, I took that screenshot. There is references to the Microsoft Graph APIs or the Microsoft Graph API. Then I have one more screenshot. Yeah, and this is like in one more keynote, we have seen that the monthly active users in Microsoft Teams, it's greater than 250 and for SharePoint it's greater than 200 So it seems that when there is a where there is a Microsoft Teams, the Microsoft 365 groups comes into the picture. The Microsoft SharePoint sites comes into the picture, and that's why it's really increased the importance of the Microsoft 365 groups. And as the team usage is increasing day by day, the governance importance is also getting increased. And to govern, to implement the governance or to have the governance in place in any organization, we have to use the Microsoft Graph APIs. So here what my intention is to tell that how the important of the Microsoft Graph APIs when we talk about now the Microsoft 365, or even the when we discuss some Azure and other Microsoft cloud services. So let's begin with the Microsoft Graph overview. Before starting exactly what is the Microsoft Graph APIs or brief overview, what before the Microsoft Graph there. So whenever we have say like a cloud, when we say the cloud, the Microsoft 365 to communicate with the data or to get the data, or even for our external data into the some Azure services or in Microsoft 365. There were the different APIs available for the different services of the Microsoft 365. Previously, it is Office 365, and we were calling it as like a Office 365 as a suite of services, which includes like OneDrive, Outlook, OneNote, SharePoint. Now Microsoft 365, and this suite is day by day increasing. The number of services getting increased. Now we have the like Microsoft Teams is there, Yammer is there, Planner is there, SharePoint is there, Outlook, Azure Active Directory, OneDrive, Office apps, Power Platforms, and the services are increasing now. The Viva. So before the Microsoft Graph came, these services have the different endpoints to get the data. They have the different path to get the data. They have the different permission models, the different authentication models, and the different data responses. So it's really difficult for the developers. Developers' life is not so easy to use these and to remember these all those endpoints and the permission models, authentication mechanisms, different data models, then parse them and to present in our web apps or to present to the users in the favorite format. So that was very difficult. And then the Microsoft come up with the Microsoft Graph. So it's like all those things what we were discussing. It's a different endpoints, different authentication mechanism, or different permission models, are those get unified. Microsoft Graph came under one unified endpoint, one unified path, one unified URL, which is like https graph.microsoft.com. So all the data, to get the data, it's like, so Microsoft Graph, it's like a gateway for my Microsoft 365 data, or the data available to the Microsoft, my cloud. So whether it's a users, groups, files with OneNote, OneDrive, Office app models, or other SharePoint, and all other data. So it's become a single unified gateway or endpoint to access the data. It made the life very easy. Not only the single unified gateway, but it also have the similar authentication, one-time authentication mechanism, then the common permission model, and the common written data format, which is the JSON. So it made our life very easy. So, and now if you have noticed, as discussed in all the sessions, or all the APIs which are Microsoft is exposing to have access to the Microsoft Cloud services, those are coming under the Graph APIs. And that's why it's very important point or important topic to understand exactly how the Microsoft Graph APIs works, what they requires to call the Microsoft Graph APIs in our application. Okay, and here is just a brief diagram, again the courtesy from the Microsoft documentation. Got this picture from their site. So if you notice here, Microsoft Graph is not only gateway for Microsoft 365, but plus it's also have like the APIs for the Windows 10 and then enterprise mobility and security. So there are if you in that Vesha screenshot also, there are three ways to shown like the REST APIs. So these are the Microsoft Graph REST APIs and the webhooks which we saw in the previous session. To have the access to our cloud services and to represent them in the whatever the format it's required to the users. So not only those REST APIs, but there are some external data connectors are also available to expose our external data, like from Google Drive, like from Xbox, to the Microsoft Graph, to the Microsoft Cloud, and to implement like search kind of applications to search in the my Google Drive or something like that. So there is external data connectors are also available. The good amount of connectors are available for those. So REST APIs plus the external data connectors, and then there are some called the Microsoft Graph Data Connect. So Microsoft Graph Data Connect, which expose some data to like the Azure services, like Azure AI or something, to build or to develop some intelligence kind of applications. So this is the overall brief for why this Microsoft Graph is now the centralized Even for the Microsoft 365 developers, Azure developers, architects, and why it's very necessary to know, to understand these graph APIs. We talked about this Microsoft Graph, and then we are today's our session is to integrating the Microsoft Graph with the Microsoft 365 groups, managing the groups life cycle. But then what are the Microsoft 365 groups? Again, these groups are like a central part. If we use the Teams, there is one group, Microsoft 365 group created behind the scene, and which is again for the collaboration among all other services of the Microsoft 365 as well. Like for example, if of course those are somewhere at it is required that group is created, somewhere at for some services it's optional group is created. So like for example, if I create one Microsoft 365 group, then I could have the collaboration with the Planner, Yammer, Microsoft Teams, the SharePoint site, and other amongst the other services. So groups are nothing but those are the collection of groups and other principals like other groups. We share access to resources in Microsoft services, to services of the Microsoft 365 or cloud. So if you now this is again diagram courtesy from the Microsoft documentation, but now this is the single identity across the Microsoft 365 resources. That means users, resources, the Microsoft 365 services. There are few types of groups like Microsoft. We will see in the next slide what are the types of groups, but in the diagram just here mentioned like Microsoft 365 security groups or distribution groups and those things. So these Microsoft 365 groups provide a foundational membership service for Microsoft 365 users to across all these cloud services or all these resources you can see. And this list is going to increase, and Microsoft is keep increasing this. So these are the foundations which allows to users to collaborate or to integrate across these Microsoft 365 services. Okay, and what are the benefits? Again, these are get handled through the membership, like in my Teams, Outlook, or in the permissions if I need to give the specific groups or the users in that group. So the membership and access control across Microsoft 365, those groups are centrally managed and governance. Now, centrally manage and govern. From where we could manage those, we have the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. We have the Azure Ready Admin Center, or from the Exchange Admin Center even. So these means from these locations we could manage those groups at centrally, and then these are like secured centrally for all users in this environment. So these this is like a Microsoft 365 groups. Now what are the types of the groups available? Those are the Microsoft 365 groups, which provides, as discussed, the collaboration between the Microsoft 365 resources, services, my cloud services. These are mail enabled group. These are security enabled group, and we could use the Microsoft Graph APIs to manage or to create this group. We will see the demo as well, how to create the Microsoft 365 group using the Microsoft Graph APIs. Then there are the security groups. Good example is I could create the security group, and I could have the users and give the permission to that group. So, but there are two types of security groups actually. One is mail enable, and another is like we won't enable the mail for those security groups. And the distribution group is clearly this distributing mail to the members of the group. But then now before means on the top of distribution group, we prefer to the Microsoft 365 groups. Microsoft 365 groups, security groups, and the mail enable security groups are all accessed or all created and managed by the APIs like Microsoft Graph, but not the distribution group. Okay, let's move. Now, what are the use cases where we have like Microsoft Graph API and group integration? One very important real life or live scenario, I would say the Teams governance or the SharePoint governance. So if we speak that as the heavy uses of Teams are increasing day by day, governance is the very critical critical ingredient in critical component for the organization to maintain the healthy environment, to maintain the healthy tenant. Okay. Now, what includes this governance? The use case is like whether it is my organization has the multiple teams, whether they have the multiple owners, more than one owner or not, whether life cycles are maintained for the teams or not, whether external users for which I'm giving the external sharing or the guest access giving for my Microsoft Teams are in place or not, whether we are reevaluating the permissions on the time-to-time basis or not. These kind of the governance is there. Governance is required when we need to maintain the healthy environment or healthy tenant. And when we talk about this type of governance, when we talk about the Microsoft Teams or the SharePoint or the Yammer, the Microsoft groups comes into the picture. And this is one of the very important use case. Or whenever we need to automate the process of the teams creations, or we need to have the approval process required for the teams, and these kind of scenarios or these kind of use cases are there, the Microsoft groups are came into the picture. So what are the here I'm listing on this slide very few use cases which Microsoft Graph is required. Which Microsoft Graph API which we are using, like listing all my organization group, getting all existing groups in my organization, in my company from my tenant, create the groups, update the properties of groups, when we could delete the groups, then we could add or remove the membership management, because that is also one of the use case. For example, for the governance, again, whether I have my 365 groups or the teams have the right number of owners are available or not as per my organization policy. So to manage the members, to manage the owners, there are the APIs available for them from the Graph API. And then to maintain some group policy settings, whether to allow the guest access or not for the teams, or this kind of the settings, whether the group it's a public or private. To maintain these group policy settings, there are the Graph APIs are available, and this list is again the increasing. So here just listed a few use cases for those. So now as we are discussing, let's see a live demo with the help of Graph Explorer here. Still we are not going to like the development and what are the prerequisites I required to access Microsoft Graph API. Microsoft Graph API are the secured API or protected API. What is mean those we will check quickly. But before that, to have a glimpse of the Graph API, let's have some execute the queries, some queries through the Microsoft Graph Explorer. So Graph Explorer, in short, it's a very good handy tool provided by the Microsoft to verify, to test the Graph APIs. For example, if we are talking about the groups, here if you see the again to this Microsoft Graph Explorer, I am logged in with my local tenant account where I am the global administrator for time. Okay, so here if you are not logged in, there is a default user account available to with that account we could execute the queries as well, but then we couldn't execute the post queries, only the get queries, and that's why I am logged in with my local tenant account. It's a Prasham. So to execute the groups queries, for example, and this tool has provided lots of very good sample queries, like for if you are getting started, or for batch queries, for Excel queries. Here we have for group queries, which we are going to try now. Then there is for the Microsoft Teams as well. So here you have an option like you could create the team, get which teams you are the member of the team, and get the channels and details. So and these queries Microsoft Graph queries came into the two versions. One is the V1.0. This is the production live version. Queries available in this version we could use for our production purpose or for our tenant purpose for our implementation. And the beta there is a beta version. Best practice is not to use. This is for our references, what's coming, which APIs are coming into the feature, and what is will be available. So we could plan accordingly. So and this Microsoft Graph APIs has a specific like syntax. Here the HTTPS graph.microsoft.com, which is a unified URL. After that it's a version, and after that it's a resources like users, groups, teams, etc. For which resource I'm executing the query. And there are another options available like filters and the selections of the properties, and those are like those we call it as a query parameters. Those are available top 5, or to get the result top 1, top 5, and this kind of things. So let's execute these groups, get all groups in my organization. So see this query, this is the groups query available in v1.2. And here, I'm sorry.
Let me check and mute them. Please carry on.
Yeah, sorry, thank you. And then this query returns the, if you see the response, I will show you the response as well. Under the response preview tab of this Graph Explorer, this query returns in the status code, it's a 200. Beauty is like it also returns the time required. If we like having the performance or implementing performance something, and the list of groups which I have access in my organization. So these, if you see this, let me expand this. Yes, this is visible. Yeah. So if you see this, these are the properties when we executed the query. These are the properties are written, and these properties are called default properties. If we need some extra properties, we need to request them again. So like it's a ID, and if it is deleted or not, classification is set or not, something descriptions and display name like all companies, and where we are discussing this whether this group is mail enable or not. If you see this mail enable or not, that property we were discussing. Then there is like one more property, it's a security enabled or not, so it's a false here. So from here we'll get an idea what is this which type of this group is, and for what purpose this group can be used, like visibility is public. Okay, so these kind of queries here. Let me zoom in again. Yeah, now we saw that this is the this is for the getting all the groups from my organizations. Let's create one sample group again. Here post, create a new group, and here it gives like this is a post query. Here in Graph Explorer, when we have, there are different types of again which verb for use for these queries, like get, post, put, patch, or delete. If we need to delete object like group or something, we need to update the group properties or something, the patch is used. So here it provides it requires the JSON object which having at least these are the required properties: display name, mail enabled, mail nickname, and the security enabled or not, whether it's security enabled or not. So these are the required properties, at least is required, and the query request is the groups. We will also see how to use this in our daemon applications, like the background jobs, which can be hosted as a task scheduler in my Windows Server or as a web job in Azure. Okay, so before that, I will just go to this Microsoft 365 Admin Center, and I'm already logged in with my account. And here, if I go to the active teams and groups, here I will see the list of all the groups. Now, if we go to the Graph Explorer, our group name is the library assist. So if I go here into those are sorted, there is no group name starting with the L. So let's create with the help of the Graph Explorer. And this is also like a part of the group life cycle, where we are creating the new group. Previous request we saw where we are getting the list of all the groups. So let's run the query. It's a bad request. Let's see what is the issue. Okay, so let's change it. This is again the beauty of Graph Explorer, where you will get the exact issue. What is the error, and yeah, what is the code for that error and all those things. Again, there is one more important thing which Graph Explorer helps a lot for the development. I will just show you. Let's make this query first. Yeah, it's created. See this response 201, that is the group is get created, and it returns the default properties of the group object. So if I go to again Microsoft 365 Admin Center, I refresh it. Let's go to the L. It may take just a minute or something to have it. It written as the display name library asset, so it should be there. Not yet. So let's continue. We'll check it again in a minute. Sometime it takes time to have it or to reflect in it here. So let's continue. We are discussing one more important point here. I need to show again when we discuss about this Graph Explorer, the access token. So it shows here the access token as well. What is access token? We'll just going to discuss in a while. And then the permissions required. These graph APIs are the secured APIs, so those require the permissions to execute. So we require the permissions to execute those queries. And what are these permissions? It lists here. So it helps a lot when we develop the applications, real life applications, where we are using the graph APIs in our SPFX component or in the daemon jobs or then the web jobs. Okay, so for Graph Explorer, I'll stop here. Let's move ahead. The important topics, important points need to discuss. How to call these graph APIs in our applications. What are the prerequisites for these graph APIs to use these graph APIs in our applications? We could use like in our console app daemon jobs, SPFX components, ASP.NET web applications, single page web application, even in the Python applications, Go language applications, and this kind of the application. So what are the required to have this graph API in our application? Most important thing is we could have the alternative options, like we could use the Azure App Client ID and a secret key, or we could use our credentials as well, or the Azure App Client ID and the certificate. Then once we have this Azure app is in place, we need to give our app to the permission to invoke the Microsoft Graph APIs. Now, what are the kind of permission that we will going to discuss? Once we have the proper permission in place, then we need to use the MSIL libraries. These are Microsoft Identity Libraries, Authentication Identity Libraries available to access. Those are provided the APIs to access the Graph APIs. Then we require the access token. So what is the access token? How to generate this access token? Let's discuss. But these are the very high level step to use the Graph API in your application, or what are the prerequisites. So important prerequisites is like I need my app. I need to give the permissions to my app. There are the different kind of permissions, application permissions and delegated permissions. Let's discuss those as well. Then I need an access token, and with the help of access token, I'll call the graph APIs. Move ahead. So as discussed, what are the permissions required to use Microsoft Graph API? Before that, I'll go to my Azure Admin Center. You could go from this Microsoft 365 Admin Center as well, like from Azure Active Directory Admin Center, or you could go directly with the help of aadportal.azure.com. Here, as we are discussing, we need to register our app. So here from the Azure Active Directory Admin Center, we have the app registrations here. We could click here app registrations. I already have the several apps in place, including this knowledge junctions or developers bootcamp. These apps are created, or you could create the new registration as well. We are not going to create the new registration. You just create a new registration. There are only a couple of steps, 3-4 steps, and your app is in place. So for in the interest of time, we'll move ahead and we'll use this knowledge junction. We'll use one of the app from here. Okay, once we have app is in place, that the permissions part which we are discussing. So here from like the permission sections, let me go to the app. I'm on the app page which I have created. From here we'll get our application ID, and you could get the here from the tenant ID as well. Once we have those app is in place, then we have the permissions where we could assign the API permissions here in the left blade. So if I click here on the API permissions, then there is the add permission, and amongst the add permission we have the those are the API to whom we could provide the permissions. And here the Microsoft Graph, since we are using the Microsoft Graph, we will select this Microsoft Graph permission. Now here there are two types of the permissions, delegated permission and the application permission. So what are those delegated permissions and application permissions? Let me fetch. Delegated permissions when we have like in the context of the sign-in user. Like for example, when we are using the Graph APIs to my SPFX component. Application permissions are like when we are having the like background services or background jobs, like which are hosted either as a web job in Azure or um, or in our Windows Server as a task part of the task scheduler. The use case for the applications, like as we discussed, the governance jobs we have implemented, which runs based on the several frequency and the queries to the our Microsoft 365 cloud services to verify or to have something to check something or to implement the governance or to the automation process. So at that time we require the application permissions. So here I'm going to demonstrate into the .NET Core console applications, and that's why we have required like the application permissions. Then which kind of permissions are required? So when we discuss about the application permissions, we require the group.create, group.readwrite all, and directory.readwrite all. When we discuss about the delegated, when the user is like work or school account or my tenant account, at that time we'll require a permission like group.readwrite.all, directory.readwrite all, and those kind of permissions. So here there is a section called Microsoft Group. Yeah, and here you will see that those are the permissions are the assigned. Please remember those all permissions are required the admin consent. So those must be from here. We could once we have the permission is placed, then we could require those. Since those are already added, I could show you. From here we need to grant the admin consent. This is from the UI from the Azure Active Directory Admin Center. Okay. These kind of the permissions are required when we use the Microsoft Graph APIs in our applications. Now, as we are discussing, these Microsoft Graph APIs are the secured APIs. Those are the protected APIs. That means it requires the access token. Now, what is the access token basically? This is very again important point. To access these APIs, we need access token. This access token is nothing but a 64-bit JSON web token. For different APIs, Microsoft uses different type of APIs, so it is not always necessary that it will be a JSON web token. Please remember this. For Microsoft Graph API, we'll require access token, which is 64-bit encoded JSON web token. But then what it contains? It allows us to use these APIs. It allows these APIs like used by to perform to authentication or to authorization. And what it contains? It contains information about our app which we created. It contains the permission of the app which we have, our app have, and which APIs are available through Microsoft Graph. For getting better understanding of this access token or knowing more about this access token, we could decode this access token with the help of jwt.ams. HTTP on that site you could go paste this access token, and you could see it shows like it contains the claims and other details what it contains. So this is access token. But then the next important point is, how do I get this access token? Okay, it's okay. These Microsoft Graph APIs are protected APIs. Those require the access token to use them. But then how to get those access token and here comes into the picture the Microsoft Identity Platform. What is the Microsoft Identity Platform thing? Okay, so this Microsoft Identity Platform is nothing but based on the top of the Azure Active Directory ID. And it allows us to develop the application which will sign into Microsoft identities to get the token, um, to use the protected APIs, secured APIs like Microsoft Graph APIs, or even the custom APIs which we want to make it secure, which we develop. So this is Microsoft Identity, nothing but the it's a evolution of the Azure Active Directory. Okay, now this Microsoft Identity Platform provides the Microsoft authentication libraries, MSIL libraries. Those are nothing but the set of APIs to fetch these tokens based on my app, which I have registered into the Azure AD. Okay, now let's see the demo. Let's move to the Visual Studio. This is my Visual Studio 2022 preview. Let me zoom. Okay. This is the simple .NET Core console application. In this demonstrate, I will show you how to create Microsoft 365 group using this .NET Core application, how to get all the groups in my organization and export them to the CSV file, and then how to create the group owners. How to get the group owners of the respective group, because group members are not get returned into the default properties of the group when we create the group. Okay, so these are getting so we need to make the extra request. And what is that request? So if I go to the solution, this is my solution. Before we the libraries or the packages which we are using, configuration.json and this extension for reading the JSON file. What is into the JSON file? Here into the JSON file, I have just hard coded now the CSV path where I need to export my client ID, client secret key, my tenant ID, local tenant ID, and all those things. And I have Boolean flag whether to use app permissions or whether to use the current use the user credential. Okay, so again moving to the program. Yeah, packages. So these are the packages included, and then this is a Microsoft Graph package which I required, where I'm using the Microsoft Graph Service Client. What is this Microsoft Graph Service Client? Let me go and show you. Okay, this is the API Graph Service Client. This is the API which provides the abstraction or which simplifies the calling of the Graph APIs, which required one parameter authentication provider. Again, this is very important part. I'm going to the implementation of the authentication provider. Authentication provider class, this is class available into the MSIL provided by Microsoft, like Microsoft.identity-model.client.active directory. This class implements our authentication provider, and we need to implement the authenticate request sync. What we do in this method, important point is, in this method we get the access token which we saw, and that access token we add as a header section under as a authorization, as a barrier token to the Graph API request. Okay, now here if you see this, I'm reading the client ID, client secret key. There is a class using the authentication context. Again, this is a part of the MSIL library, the API available in the MSIL library. And then I'm using the client credential class with the help of my client ID and client secret key. Those I have specified into the JSON file. Okay, and then I have the authentication context class method acquire token sync. This gives me a actual access token. Now what it requires my client ID and the client secret key and the resource or the API which I am using. And here API which we are using is the Microsoft Graph API. Okay, so this is a short method which we use to associate the authentication token to my Graph API request. In the header section, it's as a barrier token, and the key name is the authorization. Okay, And this is the class available. So we must require whenever we use the Graph API, like in WebJob or here in the console application, we must require to implement this authentication provider class, and they implement this method. Now, again, if I go to back my Teams operation class, okay, so I'm creating an instance of Graph Service Client. As discussed, this Graph Service Client is the abstraction or the API available under the Microsoft.graph NuGet package, which takes the input parameter of the authentication provider and which is now provides us the several various methods to work on. For example, here I have a create group method, created a graph client service object with that authentication provider which we saw, and then here the required properties, description, display name, group type, whether what is the nickname secured, enable or not. And just graph client object, this graph service client object has the method called groups request add async and the group object. So let's execute this. Here see this name of the display name is M365 Bangalore, which I already tried, but I'm again executing just for the sake of demo, and then we'll change the name. It should give me the exception that the given object is already available or something like that. See this. If you notice this is a bad request, and another object with the same value mail nickname is already exists. Okay, so let's change this. Demo going on, something like that. Let's give that name, and I'm again executing. I have the breakpoint here and here. Again, there is some exception. Why it's, let me give the another some good name. Build once. Let's execute. I hope it will get executed successfully now. It's again saying group is exist. I'm sorry, I need to change the mail nickname as well, that we are not changing. Okay, execute. Yep, the group created successfully. I'll stop here. Next method we'll just check, but now again we'll go to the M365 admin center and the groups listing. Let's go here again. I'm refreshing this page now. Hopefully it will show. Yeah, if you notice there, this group is already, which we created through Visual Studio, the group demo, group creation demo. So if you notice the time as well, it's 11 December 3:47. Okay, so in this way we have created the group Microsoft 365 group with the help of the Microsoft Graph APIs from the in the C# using the Visual Studio. I'm
Prashant,
again go. Okay, I'll just try to quickly have this point. Okay, I'll again go to the Graph Explorer, where what I need to show the important point here in the Graph Explorer is the code snippet. If you notice this group creation code, which is already available here. So it's very handy, no need to like where we need to what are the need to look into it or something like that. We could directly use this copy paste and the use kind of in our application. One more beauty is it's not only available in the C# but in the JavaScript as well, where we need to use something like in the SPFX components or web applications or something in the Go language as well, in the C language and Java as well. And one more important other thing I need to show, it shows like for the toolkit component. Okay, currently it's not showing the available for this component, but it shows like for the MGT toolkit components. Okay, I'll go again code. There is one more method where I'm listing all my organization groups. So here I have a method called get all groups. Again, I am having the graph service client object, having the authentication provider, which we have implemented using authentication provider, and then just it returns the groups.request. So it's a get request, and which returns me all the groups in my organization. The similar way we have the like get group owners, where I'll show the actual request where we are requesting the owners separately, because that is not a part of the default properties which when we returns when we get the groups or when we create the groups. Go to the presentation section again. So that was our demo. That was about my, I have a very good list of the references where you will get for each and each reference for each and each step we will discuss. Please have a look. And then next session is from Suresh. It's on Power Virtual Agent. So yeah, it's again very interesting topic from the Power Platform side. And again, thank you to all. You could reach me on my mail or Twitter account Sabadra Prasham, on LinkedIn, or all these blogs, and I'm almost around 400 articles on knowledge-junction.com, where I share my Microsoft 365 findings, latest updates, news, and what are the POCs which I used to do. And then again, once again, thank you very much for giving this opportunity to all sponsors. And I'll request you all to please participate into the quiz section, and please have really exciting prizes. Thank you
Thanks,
so much
Prashant.
and have a great day. Bye-bye.